Hey everybody, this is Tim Shaw, and welcome to Where Else the Black Cat Lounge. Where else would you be on a Tuesday night? Tuesday nights, here in frozen Western New York, Tuesday nights are the place where you're kind of sitting back, and where else? You maybe have a cocktail, maybe a hot toddy, maybe about 5 cups of coffee in front of you, like I usually have, and you are ready just to go and sit and enjoy What Else the Black Cat Lounge. And we've got a great show for you tonight. Hey, first off, I don't know if you guys have caught the promo I did today, and I was talking about a a scanner device, and it's so fun. As a matter of fact, here it is. This is what we were talking about. The the ANC Mini. This is what we're talking about, and of course, it plugs into a SB7, and then it plugs into an independent speaker. Well, you know what was so neat? It's chattering, chattering, chattering. Now playing with the buttons, just kind of going and demonstrating it. At the very end, when I say bye, I hit the end of broadcast. We're done. We're done. We're going to fade to black. As I'm fading to black, I know the audio's off. I hear bye. Thanks. You could have said bye while we were on the show. But I need to tell you guys that I am impressed by this. Uh, again, the little unit here is because we do a lot of spirit box work, and we've built them. And my friend Joe Piari does some beautiful work. But I look for things that are really super small for my kit, and this is it for $89. It's worth it. 119 with the speaker that they recommend. So that's always a great addition. Now, just to let you guys know, I'm going to go a little. I'm just going to go and I'm going to plug myself for this weekend before we bring on our guests. We're going to have a mini psychic fair at the Paranormal Oddities, and it's from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can call, you can make reservations, you can hang out, come on, visit, and that sort of stuff. But that's the fun of what we do. And again, it's so great. I had some. I stopped over to Paranormal Oddities, as a matter of fact, and I was uh, talking with Nick Groff, my old buddy Nick Groff. We both appeared on his show, Paranormal Lockdown, a few years ago. And I've known his wife Tessa for a long time, and I love her. She's so sweet. And she's a great medium too. She's fantastic, and she's expecting a little guy, and she's so little, and the stomach is out, and she's so cute. But it was so nice to see Nick. I haven't seen him in probably a year. I would say probably a year. Every so often we catch each other with texts, and just to keep up what's going on. But she was just a really he's just a neat guy. And we talked a lot about philosophy. I was only there for probably 30 minutes, and we were talking about philosophy and how we should kind of everybody should kick back a little bit. Everybody needs to go and just take a little breath, and when bad things happen to you, how we can go and we can maximize our effort to forgive. I don't like to forget, but that's just me. But forgive and move on and work for the highest and best what we can do. Hey, hi guys, how are you? uh we have Shawnee Sloat in the house. We got Joy. We got Christine Larson, my buddy, my VIP dinner date. That I can't think of anybody else that I'd rather sit down and eat rubber chicken with. We have Bill Randall, permission to come aboard the USS Edson. We've got Laura on there, and we've got Kenneth. And I think we're going to have a great show for you tonight. Now, guys, I want to go and I want to bring on, uh, uh, I want to bring on someone who I've wanted to talk to for a while. We met not too long ago up at where else? We're up at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and she impressed me. I was kind of, I always tell people that because I'm an instructor, I'm a good judge of horse flesh, and I by no means is our guest anything like a horse, believe me, but uh, some people just have that energy about them, have that wit about them. You can tell right off the bat that they do it for the right reason. the energy is like finer, and that's we're going to talk a lot about energy tonight because there's just there's sometimes the energy right now is kind of funkadelic. I just want to make sure everybody goes and if we can kind of raise ourselves out of this funk. I think we're going to have some. I think we'll be in a better shape. But our guest tonight is fantastic. She's a spirit medium. She's an instructor. She works missing persons and cold cases. Oh my God, what else? Oh, she is a sought after speaker, sought after. And the reason why I say sought after is because of the fact that uh, she's going to be speaking to Sage Conference this year. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Yours truly didn't even get invited to Sage. I don't get invited to Sage. No, it's because, you know, I'm not as good as our guest because our guest is excellent. So guys, I want to go without further ado. I want to go and I want to bring on someone who really impressed the hell out of me and is probably one of the sweetest people I've met in a long time. So please welcome the mermaid medium. I love that. The mermaid medium, Jessica Potter. Jess, how are you? I think your mic is muted, Dal.
There we go.
There
Hi.
we are. Yay! There we are.
Thank
We're
you.
in good shape now. Whew. I was starting to get palpitations. We were talking about getting she and I were talking about being nervous before we do shows or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh, I got to pretend to be a director here. I got to pretend to be a producer. Oh no. Oh no. So we got it going. How you doing, kiddo? Thanks for coming on
Good.
tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your sweet words. Yeah,
It's just
I'm so glad we met. Like that it's really awesome to meet other mediums that support other mediums. And that's a big thing to me is like when we can really all stand together because we have so much
mhm.
weird stuff go on. Like we're going to talk about energy.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of cool when you can get two mediums together and be like, I get this, I get this. It's so weird.
It's what's neat is uh somebody came up to me recently and we were talking about all the different mediums in all the different areas and
Mhm.
one-upmanship and it's like because I remember when I first started doing gallery, the only gallery that was done it was in churches, and now everybody's doing gallery. And I and you have to overcome that. You have to overcome all that, like that ego, and just say,
Mhm.
it's competition. And what I love about it is the fact that it forces you to become better, and
Mhm.
you look
Yeah.
at things and you evolve, and that's what I love about it. I got, you know what, guys, I'm just gonna come right and say I met her. I forgot. We were at the top of the escalator. I remember
Yeah.
that's where we met, the top of the escalator, and we started talking. And I sat there, or I stood there and thought to myself, my God, this woman's got it all together. I mean, she really, not, yeah, you do. Come on, you can giggle all you
I'm a
want, but
hot mess. I'm a hot mess. Like I'm
listen, we're
always
all hot.
flying
We're
in
all
last
hot
minute.
messes. I'm
Yeah.
just an ancient hot mess. That's the only difference between you and me. But I just thought to myself, my God, from the way you were talking, and the way uh, it was like, what were we like? We said hello. There was about 5 seconds of like banter, and then we got into like some kind of deep conversation, and I was like, oh my God, this doesn't happen all the time. That's why I said we have to take some time. We have to get to know each other a little bit better,
Yeah.
and start working out there. Hey, okay, so a lot of people, I want them to be familiar with you, Jessica.
Okay.
So, uh, I know what I was going to do real quickly. I just wanted to say that when I was talking with this person, I said, you got to understand, when one of us, is successful or wins, we all are successful
Hmm.
and win, because it helps us all. And there's no room for any kind of competition, because that's not what it's about in the first place. If I wanted to if I want to be part of the competition, I would be out there lobbying my bookers and my agents for like TV shows, instead of just
Yeah.
falling into them like I do. But I want everybody to know a little bit more about you. When you were small, again, I did a little bit of homework. I stalked you online. I won't lie, and I did a little homework. But you're a lot like me. You were exposed to this really early, and you really had your experiences. Would you tell everybody about how you kind of harnessed it, and and why you actually embraced it?
Okay. Great question, by the way. Um, that's where my ADD wants to come in and like go on long rants. But you actually picked up on this, and this is one of the things that had us dive into deep. Because you were talking about how I would see colors and auras and stuff like that when I was younger, and I would always see these balls of light, which I knew was angels. I did grow up in a Christian faith. My mom's Southern Baptist, my dad was Catholic. And so we kind of settled on non denominational, but I was raised in a very Christian household. So I always knew angels were real. I could always feel the connection. So when I would see the rays of light, the balls of light, or it's like I was never intimidated by them. I thought it was normal, something that everybody experiences. When I was about 18, I was with somebody else, and this orb came down, and my dog see it. She was like standing up on her hind legs, like whining, like excited. And the person flipped out, was like, "What is that? Get it out of here, get out." And I'm like, "You don't see this? Like, that's not normal." But I never put too much thought in it. My first real big mediumship happened when I was 13. My uncle passed away. We had just had my Nana pass away. So we flew down from Alaska to South Carolina to plan her funeral. And a couple of days after being there, my uncle that we were staying with had a heart attack and passed away. So, right at his time of death, everybody was at the hospital. My mom dropped us off with our papa. And I heard right when he was declared dead, his voice in my head. And he said, "Tell your cousin this, tell your aunt this, he had 3 children. So he had messages for each one. And he said, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. So when we got back together, I got to the hospital. My mom was going to tell us that he passed. And I said, I know that he went around this time. And I told her the messages. That night, my cousin dreamed of his dad and got the same messages. So that's kind of another thing that I just kind of dismissed, like, oh, family members, this is normal for people to experience. Wasn't until actually just reached about 6 years ago, I had an ex pass away. And the following days after he passed away, I thought I was going nuts and losing my mind. I kept getting messages, and then I'm still friends with his family on Facebook, stuff like that. And they would post about it. And I was like, hey, this is weird. So I started journaling it and writing it down, trying to understand how I was getting it. And then from there, I was like, hey, I want to explore this and understand it, because growing up, I kind of explored that. My parents would have been like, you're crazy. What are you doing? But yeah, I just started taking courses to try and understand it. Once, and I was always that one in class that was like, I'm not going to be able to get anything. My partner's getting ripped off. And then I would get all these things and be like, even I was like, holy crap. Oh my God. Like, where'd that come from? But it was the coolest feeling. And my whole life I've had struggled in school, just not been book smart person, but emotionally smart. I've just had a connection to understanding emotions and why people are feeling the way that they feel. So I finally felt like I found my area of where I belonged and understood. And then the more I've connected to people, it's just kind of taken off, just getting to know others like me.
It's true. The more that you start working with other people, the more you feel accepted, and your self-confidence starts
Yeah.
to blossom. That's the way it's always worked for me. Got a quick question for my buddy Joe. With living in Alaska, do the northern lights ever affect you?
I always thought that was such a really spiritual experience, like when I would have the northern lights come out. Because it's like some winters you can go and not see them all winter. But when we would go further north and be at my aunt's cabin, it was almost like a nightly thing. But I remember it never gets old. It's like, it just makes you pause and realize like how powerful God is to create such a beautiful world. And yeah, so I would say that was the biggest impact it made on me. It's like I remembered those memories deeply.
Oh, and Karen just stopped by.
I love
Madam
Karen.
Madam Ouija board. That's what I like to call her, Madam Ouija board. Just stop by to say hello.
You
Hello,
want to know?
Karen. And we
You want to
miss
know
you.
what a
We miss
small
you.
world it is? Me and Karen met over 2 years ago at in my Paracon. In this one, we like finally got to know each other. Like, because we get so busy that you don't get to talk. So her dad was commander of the base in Albuquerque, Kirkland Air Force Base, when I was born.
Oh,
So
wow.
we have like all these connections. Where we live now is like where she went to high school. It's so awesome. It's really
Oh,
cool.
my God. But isn't it? I love synchronicity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing when you sit down one day and you realize sometimes the energies kind of bring you all together,
Yep.
and you don't feel that you're so disjointed, and especially in this day and age, because of the fact
Mhm.
of everything that goes on, and everybody is uh, so upset about everything that anything that happens. We don't have that sense of community, really. We don't have that feeling of being part of something.
Yeah.
And I think that when synchronicity comes at this point now, it really blows your mind, because you just, oh
Yeah.
my God, are you kidding me? How did that happen? I
Yeah,
love
there's
it.
so much more to the bigger picture. And I think right now we're all having to work through these self journeys. And I
Yes.
think that's part of why we're going through a lot of this stuff is like we've gotten too set in patterns and behaviors and habits and getting through
Yep.
life.
I
And
agree.
pushing through. And I feel like that's part of why it's all getting broken up so we can unite on the true thing. And that's why I'm so big on having no competition because we're all designed differently.
Hmm.
And if you really
Exactly.
sit with somebody else, you'll see how their skills and abilities like make you see things completely different. And we're designed that way on purpose. It's
Well, how
amazing.
many times have you, now, a lot of times, some of the work I've done, like on Portals to Hell, where they bring you in, you don't know where you are, you got to read the energy in the place. I've worked with other mediums where we've done a building in tandem,
Hmm.
and they will get something totally different from what I'm getting,
Yeah.
but it's all the same. It's not, I shouldn't say it's all the same, but it all happened. And it's like, this is why I always tell my students, don't be in competition,
Yes.
because we're all different. We're all made up different, psychologically, physically, metaphysically, our spirituality. Everybody is so different. That impacts our
Hmm.
abilities. The ability is there. It's muscle memory. But when it blossoms, it's going to go in different directions. And that's what's so great about it.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about. Well, I was thinking about questions that we can discuss today, and I turned on while I was thinking about it, because I have to do two things at once, because I have a man brain. Uh, I'm over there and I'm watching this doc about the 90s, and all this stuff that happened, and I started thinking to myself, you know, I think we're starting to do cycles again. I think you
Hmm.
can see like these years go by, and I remember, like, back in the late 80s, you could feel that unrest starting, and all through the 90s you could feel it, and then we went into the 2000s, and it kind of just leveled out, and we had, and even spiritually, a lot of things I noticed were very calm, and now I'd say for the past, what, about I would maybe 5 6 years, you could feel it starting to go in a cycle again. Now, do you think these things are naturally occurring? Do you think that perhaps uh, man has anything to do with it, or do you think that these are just naturally occurring cycles of energy that that affect us? I'm trying to think of the proper way to
Yeah.
describe it, because it's crazy, because we all go through cycles. And my clients come in, and I'm telling them, listen, you're at the end of a cycle. Congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back, you're ready to jump out. But it feels like, as a world, we come to these peaks and valleys,
Yeah.
and then we kind of go, and it's status quo for a while, and then we kind of do that. uh, do you think it's our vibrations, our intent that does it, or do you think that perhaps it's something else? Do you think it's like more universe? And when
I
I
do
say
think it's
universe, you know.
Yeah, I do think it's like waves because I've gotten really weird meditations. And I had a shift in my meditations probably about 2 years ago. And I'm like, I don't normally get stuff like this, but now I'm starting to get prediction type stuff or like,
Uh-huh.
instead of it being like sometimes I would get dreams about clients or right before they booked even or a missing case. I'll start getting information and I would tell my husband, I know a missing case is right about come my way. It's going to be a female. And then I started getting like bigger messages and really weird ones talking about watch the food you eat, stay grounded, endurance, immunity. And this is all before COVID kicked off. And then once it started kicking off, I was like, okay, but didn't know it was even still me being intuitive, didn't know it was going to go on this long. I think we all kind of felt that way.
I think all of us got caught sort of I know psychically myself, I
Mm-hmm.
could feel something going on,
Yeah.
but never to this extent, where it was the pandemic, where it was worldwide. It felt like something really important was going to happen. And okay, let me ask you this. I'm so thrilled that you're here because I get a chance to go and
I
ask you
do.
questions. Do you think that perhaps these cycles are naturally occurring cycles that the universe sends our way to create a cleanse?
Yes.
So,
So
okay.
that's another thing that I got with those messages. And this is part of where me and MJ had bonded. We met at a local event, like ghost hunting. And it was funny because I just came as a like hiding in the background, but she was like, you're a medium. But yeah, we were talking about like, we always get together because she's over in the UK and we'll be like, girl, are you up? I'm getting these weird messages. And I kept getting century old cleansing with the nutrition. And I was like, hey, what is this century old cleansing? And then one day they brought me through this really, really intense meditation, one of those where you're way out there and come back like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa. It was really awesome. But they showed me where like basically there's so many layers that built up on earth from wars, from battles, from just death, sickness, all that they got to energetically cleanse the world.
Right.
And what happens is some of the lower level spirits are earthbound ones, even like they're basically helping them transition. And it's like this folding of energy they showed me. I wish I could draw, but it was like really neat. But they said there's a lot of people living that are going to go and supporting this mission fold over into the new energy. So I was like, okay. And she had gotten the same message. She was like, what does century old cleansing mean? I'm like, I don't know. And I've been like buying books that I read years ago, like Edgar Casey. I've been looking at Notre Dame's, Doreen, what is it?
Virtue?
Dolores Cannon, Three
Oh,
Waves of
devotion. Yes.
Volunteers. And
Yes.
that book, like I could remember some of it, but all that started coming back. How she talks about in waves we're coming to the earth to shift it into better. And I'm like, okay, that's got to be what she's talking about and going through. And it is pretty interesting. So yeah, I do think it's a universal thing. It's like a wake up call for us and kind of get us back on the right track. Like I talked about, we get too set in our schedules, our systems, pushing through, living where we work. And then we're too old to enjoy retirement. We get just run down. Our bodies are weak because we didn't take care of ourselves. We push ourselves too hard and we're not connecting to others on the right level. So I do think it's a wave of them moving us to a higher spiritual connection. And that's part of like why there's so much ugliness going on. People don't want to look within. They like distractions. Everyone was used to going to work and having this distraction, that distraction. Now they're having to sit and wait and sit and wait and sit and wait, So,
Mm-hmm.
Kind of stirred up a lot of the chaos. And then I think it's a mixture too of the people that are in panic and not connected to spirit or going within, whether it's praying or whatever way they connect. That energy fueling the earth is going to make spirits, kind of give them a battery source. So I think it's a weird multi-layered thing going on here.
I have to agree with you. Now, one of the things that when I was researching your bio, otherwise known as stalking, online stalking, it's so funny because you think about that. There's a real fine line between doing research and stalking people. I gotta ask you this because now, I mean, some of the cast of characters that I hang out with, hoodoo people and some people who uh they may and hoodoo's not dark at all, but I mean I do know
Yeah.
some people that are very, very dark and work in that, that atmosphere. Do you feel that we've been out of balance for so long energetically, the world totally, that we're right now is do you feel like we're riding that roller coaster,
Mhm.
and and here's the second part of my question. Are we even close to getting off of the roller coaster yet?
Um, so I've been getting a lot of weird dreams, which is funny because I got so busy with appointments and going from this to that to this, that, teaching, writing courses, all that, pulling all nighters to get stuff done that I fell out of like getting psychic dreams. I just wasn't sleeping long enough, deep enough. So I put it out there. Hey, can you start sending me psychic dreams again for, understanding what all this is going on? And yeah, you really got to be careful what you wish for because I started having really intense ones. And I'm like, okay, like ones where I was like screaming in my dream, realizing I'm dreaming, hoping my husband would hear me wake up. But he's like, no, you weren't making noise. But it's sometimes they have to go so fast in our dreams. But yeah, there's a lot where I feel like, to be honest, and not to put fear out there, but I feel like it's going to get ugly before it gets calm again. But I do feel like in the next decade, we will get into a balance. I do feel like there's a weird connection to Mother Nature and human emotions. I've always felt like there's some weird tie there that just hasn't truly been discovered yet. So I feel like with that, hey, Adam, I feel like with that, we're going to have a lot of Mother Nature stuff go on that's just going to be really weird and off. So I have gotten a lot of dreams around that. My children as well. My kids are little psychic kids too. So I feel like there's going to be progress being made at the same time, like these layers are being peeled back. So it's going to seem overwhelming, ugly. There's going to be a lot of chaos, but I feel like those that are sensitive and tuned, medium, which I feel like we all have it to a degree, just some
Hmm.
people are more sensitive or care to explore it. I feel like we're supposed to stay focused on the mission and we're kind of being sped through a lot of personal stuff so we can better help with the grounding and calming. So there's going to be a lot of beauty and then a lot of chaos, a lot of beauty and chaos. And then I do feel like there's going to be a better universal understanding of each other that's needed to happen for a long time. Like even you talked about your friends that do hoodoo and stuff. It's not my thing, probably because the way I was raised or something. But I fully respect it, and I'm fully like more power to you and all that. It's just not my area, but I learn from them. I've learned to see things differently, hearing the history behind it. So I feel like more connections like that are meant to happen among humanity so we can all support each other and learn from each other.
I totally agree. We're going to take a real quick break to pay some bills. And you're here listening to the Black Cat Lounge. Our guest today is the wonderful Jessica Potter. When we come back, Jess, I want to talk a little bit about natural awareness and energy and that whole thing. So, guys, sit back. I'd say go get a drink of water, but you don't have the time. Pay attention to the bills. Go ahead. The Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Paranormal Oddities, The Little Store with the Big Heart, Buffalo Phantom Hunters, Patronus Photographic for all of your photography and design needs, Nancy's Sewing Room, masks, aprons, purses, and more, and Wild Raven Candles for those magical times. Hey everybody, it's Tim Shaw, and you're listening to the Black Cat Lounge here. Where else? Where the elite meet next to the dumpster transfer station. And we've got a phenomenal guest today. Just phenomenal. We'll bring her right back on because I want to talk about energy and I want to talk about natural awareness and how it plays into what's going on. So everybody, welcome back. The wonderful
Hi.
Jessica Potter. Hey, welcome back. Now
Hi.
we were talking a little bit about what we're seeing now with the natural disasters, we're seeing a lot of things that are very unusual. And what I found is that, and I'm not a conspiracy guy or anything, but what I found that again, things happen in cycles. You have hurricanes and you have all this destruction. You have the West Coast fires. You have everything, and it doesn't happen. I would say it doesn't happen just on its own. I believe a lot of this is because that we are so imbalanced. And I studied under Tom Brown Jr. at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York, and natural awareness to him was equal to energy. Everything was energetic. Everything had a heart. Everything had a soul. Everything had some kind of vibration to it, some kind of frequency to it. Do you think that when we talk about natural awareness, we talk about nature in general, do you think that, and this is his quote, the further you get away from nature, the more disjointed in civilization you become? And I want your opinion on this, because as someone who works with energy, I know myself, the further off I am, the further away from the natural resources I get, my energy gets funky. It gets real screwed up. I don't feel well. And that's when disease takes over the body. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah. So that's a good point too, because that's another thing that they've talked to me a lot about, like getting out in nature. And I am bad about when I get on work projects, I will be like hyper focused to a T. Like, doesn't matter if it's a painting, working on trying to get this done in the office, video editing, because that takes forever when I'm putting together my courses. I've had where they are like, go outside now, just go outside now. Because I think we get too caught up. For one, we're putting off that stress energy in our space. So
Right.
I'm like really protective of this office. I don't even keep bills up here anymore. So I didn't have time to pay my bill during that. So I'll have to do that after. But I keep it in a separate office because I started noticing I was more sensitive to that energy. But I went outside this one time and I realized, dang, I hadn't gone outside and sat outside in 3 days, other than just letting the dogs out real quick, but like just to sit there. And we have like a pretty creek in the backyard. There's like, forests and walking trails and stuff. So sitting out there, the sun was like so beautiful. And then I had all these answers just intuitively come to me, how to deal with this issue, how to reorganize this. And I'm like, dang, thank you, thank you. And then I got told the message, and it said, where's your gratitude been? Because I was so stressed over little things. I didn't realize like all the blessings that had come in with how many appointments I had, how many missing person cases, and how safe I felt in my house, because, moving houses is like,
Right.
we just bought our house and, it was such a stressful thing. I didn't pause and think, thank you for all this, like all this abundance, I've gotten caught up in the stress. So I do think there's a lot where we start to miss the big picture. We start to miss what life is about when we don't slow down and pause. And I think nature reminds us of that, and just how, it's always growing, adapting, like trees. You look at trees, there's so much to trees that you connect to spiritually. And I never thought I'd be one of these people, even though I grew up in Alaska and I loved hiking and stuff. You never think about like how amazing it is that it can go through so much, all different seasons, all different weather and things like that. And then, grow back. Like if it gets damaged, it can grow back. It can survive this. So you start to realize like how our bodies are like that. And we do need to nurture ourselves and slow down. So I do think there's a connection there. As far as conspiracy theory, I would say some stuff people probably think of as conspiracy theory, because I do know that people that are disconnected from nature, it's all about power, greed, control. So I do know they can manipulate our environment. They can manipulate how we see certain things. Like one thing, I don't watch the news at all. Like I tell my husband, tell me what I need to know.
I've stopped. It's funny because I've gotten to the point where I'm so infuriated
yeah,
by watching the news. And there's nothing that I can't find in the morning on, if I go and I just read the basics on my, on my cell phone, and I don't get upset. And it's funny because you I believe that this the media keeps us off balance.
It
It,
does.
and we lose that by paying too much attention to everything that's going on. I know when COVID hit, I was glued to the TV. I was following everything right to the T. I was, I was Mr. COVID with the mask, the gloves, and making sure making sure everything was in the garage for 48 hours before I brought it in the house.
Yep, did the same.
But I do believe that we become even passively, even on a regular day-to-day our day-to-day existence, we become imbalanced. We
Yep.
become unbalanced, and we have to go and we have to take that step back. We have to be able to find some kind of way to go and equalize the amount of information. Again, the internet and everything is throwing so much at us all at one time that we never had to worry about before.
Yeah.
And kind of be able to balance it with the world around us. Now, I'm going to again in my research on the wonderful world of Jessica Potter. You've got really great suggestions, and I want you to share them with everybody, because I have to. I'm sitting there, and I'm going to come right out and tell you that, again, because I have a man brain, I should know this stuff. And I do know this stuff. But do I go and enact it all the time? No. And if I did, I know that my energy levels would all, and this, so my energy levels would be in total balance. I would be really in, wonderful shape. My attitude would be so much better. So please share it with everybody, because I think that's if anything, I think that's one of the most important things that you could do is share it with everybody tonight.
Okay. About like how to get in a better balance.
Yes.
Yeah. The best things, like, and I'm still learning it. Like I'm human, but like what we put in our bodies, we really need to make sure is like something that's taking care of us and nurturing us, because that helps us feel better. That helps us fight off, viruses and things like that. But that has so much of effect on our brain that we don't realize. Even like too much sugar, too many carbs, if you really pay attention to it, you'll feel run down often if you eat certain foods. So I started really paying attention what I eat. But during Christmas, I did take a break and eat like cookies. I got stuck on making gingerbread cookies. So, like sometimes I think it's good to spoil yourself and just like live in the moment. But other times when you're doing this work or you're feeling depressed, you're feeling a lot of anxiety, you're feeling run down, pay attention to what you're putting in your body, because your body will tell you. So just be more aware and in tune with that, and really up your water. We do not drink enough water. Like I go through sometimes where I'll drink close to a gallon of water a day, which can seem like a lot for some people, but it does make a big difference on how you feel and your energy levels. Other than that, the best I can say for really getting in tune with your energy is trust your gut. If you're getting too caught up, like the news, for instance, if you're getting too caught up in it, or it's a part of your routine, say you're waking up, drinking coffee and starting the day off watching the news, but then you have all anxiety surrounding the rest of your day because you saw this and this, and now you're worried about this and that and how it's going to affect you and stuff, then you need to push away and do what makes you happy. If you're getting caught up in the energy of being more creative, explore that. There's ways where they connect to us on a spiritual level, even when we're not sitting down and meditating. There's ways that they bring stuff into our lives to help us process and release energy. So I feel like there's a lot right now where deep emotions are being brought up for people. I'm noticing these patterns in my readings, that I will get done with one phone reading and have a reading. Even people in different countries that book with me, I'm noticing these patterns and the things happen in their lives. And I'm like, wow, I'm kind of going through a little bit of that here. They're going through that here, and a lot of it is just us not paying attention, that voice, that intuition. We're hanging out with a friend and we're giving our all to them, always making sure they've got this taken care of, they got that taken care of, but we're neglecting something within our own lives, it's eventually going to get brought to surface till you pay
Agreed.
attention.
Agreed. You know, it's so funny. We were talking off the air about just about that, and I had readings last week that I did, and I think I did 6 or 7. I can't remember, but at least 5 of them, it was like I was mimicking. You know,
Mm-hmm.
each one because and it's strange to be able to to have that where it's like each one it was exactly the same and the energy was the same. And do you think that okay, now you're talking your worldwide clients. I'm talking my local clients. Do you think this is a worldwide problem that people are
Mm-hmm.
going through? I because I'm one of those people that certainly I believe that as the earth turns and as we are living through whatever we're living through, that this energy that surrounds the earth will ebb and flow. And we talked a little bit about the cleansing. Do you think that we're gonna? Well, you said about a decade. You figured. Do you think that
Yeah.
as human beings we may evolve into uh I'm just trying to properly phrase it. I hate to say kinder, more thoughtful type of people, or do you think that it's just going to be uh, that stasis? Where you're going to get there
Good one.
and it people will be people, and there'll be backstabbing, and then the race for the almighty dollar, but yet the earth will stabilize. Do you think that we're actually ever do you think human beings will ever be able to go and raise their consciousness to that energetic level?
Yeah. I kind of think we're so I feel like there's multiple layers going on, as I
Mhm.
was told, but there's a lot where even the people that are skeptic, the new kids coming in, the new babies being born, like I don't know if you've seen those videos, a lot of COVID babies are able to hold their head up within hours of being born.
Right,
And
right.
so nurses and doctors are talking about like this is weird, like this is something new. So I do feel like we are evolving. At the same time, I feel like we're being kind of shaken to release the old patterns, to release all that we've been carrying. But I do feel like they're trying to move us in that way. But there is still free will. There is still a lot of that that's affecting our world because the people that we're around, which I feel like right now is why we're all going through so much personally. Like each and every single person I know, especially every single medium, light worker, Reiki worker I know right now, like they just have the weirdest chaos going on in their life.
Yep.
And we're like, what
Yep.
is with this? Like it's almost like a string of bad luck, but at the same time, you got all this good coming in, this new stuff. So it's kind of like overwhelming. But I do feel there's almost like the veil is thinner to where even the skeptics and the children coming in are more sensitive, more in tune with it. People are having way more paranormal experiences and seeing a lot more stuff that they used to never see. And so I've had a lot of new clients coming to me like, well, I want to understand this, but don't read too into me. Like sometimes they think we know every little thing, but
Right.
read the energy, where they're real nervous about it because they were shaken, but then they'll be like, but I don't really believe. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, so there's a lot of people waking up to it, whether they want to realize it or not. And I feel like slowly, but surely, yeah, we will adapt to that. And it kind of goes into aliens and all that. I feel like there's a part why we know it's out there. Like, the government finally admitted it, which like none of us were shocked because we're like, yeah, there's something more out there. But I feel like there's a reason why they haven't interacted with us other than a lot of mediums who've been able to connect to them, because
I
I
agree.
feel like we're at a certain vibration level and it's all about like kill the nearest threat, kill that's scary, let's
Yes.
take it out, it's going to attack us. That's where our mindset's at as a whole, you
I
know.
agree. No,
So
I
there's a
agree.
reason that, I think this is all coming together where yeah, we're having a lot more UFO and weird experiences. I finally saw a UFO my first time ever in Arizona. And I always thought I'd be freaked out because I can do ghosts. I can do ghosts all day long. I'm always talking to them, have been since I was a kid. But like aliens, I don't know. It's like my experiences with them haven't been too like, they're just weird to me.
You
So
know, it's so funny because I met a gentleman at a UFO conference who believes all UFOs are demons. And then I met at the same conference a gentleman who believes UFOs are angels. And then, of course, you meet the people that are the nuts and bolts UFO people, where they are actually ships. And you're talking about the people like the interdimensional type people. And you know, it's kind of amazing because when I witnessed one way back during the flap in the 1970s, I was a teenager, and I have to admit that it was more probably more vibrational, more
yeah.
interdimensional, you know, where it was sort of like uh, it was there, it was solid, and then it just like zipped away and then faded away.
Hmm.
And it left me with that whole feeling of it not being, you know, tangible.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really think that a lot of it has to do with, unfortunately, the population of the earth and their vibrational
Yeah.
field, because I think that right now there's so much going on that, and you know, as a medium, and you know how energy works, the happier you are, the happier that you are, the energy, your energy flows out. The more tense you are, the more anxiety you have, like you and I had just before the show. It all
Yeah.
it all kind of goes and gets sucked back in. And which I really feel that this is something that should be explored more, but it's ignored in the same
Yeah.
way that we ignored the old stuff from the 1950s. So
Well, we need
it's
to learn to listen to each other too. Like, I mean, you had all those experiences at that conference. Like, just imagine people got together, matched notes. And I feel like there's something with, um, I always tell my students, like, every medium is different. Raised,
yes,
you know, how you were raised, your personality, your life experience. They have more to pull from when you've been through things in your life.
yes,
I think is why I've been through a lot of weird situations I didn't understand at the time. But now I'm like, okay, when I work missing person cases, it starts to click because they're able to easily bring me to that point. Um,
right,
and then it gets more fluid. But I feel like that's a big part of why we're designed so differently. So when even their connections to aliens that each person may have, it's probably the same way as our mediumship connections. It's based off of how they've seen them, movies they've been influenced by, books they've been influenced by. And
agreed.
I don't think I really started to drop my fear of aliens until I read, I believe it was Dolores's book, where she talks about how they are mixed in with angels, and there's different levels to them, just as there is, you know, with angels and lower level beings and stuff like that. So
Right.
that was when I was like, huh, you always think of them as one solid thing, one solid way. That makes a lot of sense.
See, that's even the way that I kind of separated from the spiritualist church, of which, you know, I mean, I was very, very a big, I was really a large part of it. And all of a sudden, I lost that whole sense during a meditation. One time I said, show me what spirit is, show me what heaven and hell is. And they showed me an oscilloscope in my meditation. And I'm like, only I would understand what this oscilloscope means. And it means it's all energy and vibration and frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I realized that doesn't matter what you call them. And I had this conversation with an exorcist, because I used to be like, "No, I don't believe in angels. I don't believe in this." He goes, "Well, what do you call angels?" Well, it's like a higher vibration. What do you think that is? We just call them that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the same thing when we start talking about UFOs, extraterrestrials. I really believe that it's more energy based in the long run. People don't get that. People are looking for the big wow factor, the big thrill factor. It's the same thing with, you know, public ghost hunts and that. They're looking for that big wow, and it's not. And I think, like, people like you and I, the more that we go and we work with this and we work with energy,
Mm-hmm.
the more acceptance we have to what goes on. And you know yourself, you're like, well, I'd be kind of afraid of it. No, you're not. Don't give me that stuff.
Yeah.
You got a backbone that's like thicker than mine when it comes to this stuff. You know what, Jessica, if you see me running, try to keep up. That's all I'm going to tell you.
If aliens take me, I'm going to be like, damn it,
Tim. Hey, we got a question from Andre. The question is, how did you get into helping with cold cases and missing persons?
Good question. So what's really interesting is my mom's an RN. My dad's a air rescue helicopter pilot. He was in the military for years, and yeah, he just loves flying. So I kind of grew up in a household where we just openly talked about different things. I remember watching Forensic Files. I was obsessed. Like that was a nightly thing for me. My mom, we'd sit down, watch Forensic Files, and then go off to bed, or First 48. That was just normal for us. So then when I was in high school, I remember I wanted to be either a marine biologist or go into forensics, because to me, like getting the answers and putting the pieces together, I'd be that person get lost in the lab, like matching bullets and, matching DNA. I just thought it was the coolest, most fascinating thing. I've always struggled, like I talked about in school. I have reading disability, I have dyslexia, I have all sorts of issues.
So do I.
And it was a struggle growing up. I remember my mom would have to read me books or help me read because I couldn't read at a consistent pace to like finish a book report. So she'd have to help me read. Well, my mom started saying, well, just get books you're interested in. Maybe if you get something you're interested in, it'd be more exciting. So true crime books were like big, where they had the pictures in the middle of the crime scene and stuff.
Yep.
So I knew, okay, if I get through the first half, I can't see the pictures till I get through the first half. Then I can look at that. And then I just would fly through those, like constantly going in and getting like the newest one. I can't remember the publisher, but when I started going down this path, I actually became a PI before I realized, like, I was medium. I became a PI to work some missing person cases. But then once I got involved in that, I just ended up getting like more marriage, divorces, child custody. I'm like, dang it, this is not where I want to be. Well, at the same time, I was understanding my intuition. So my mom had a family friend of ours, like her daughter went missing. And, my mom, is still hard for her. Like, she's always thought it was fascinating that mediums can help cases, but it's still hard for her to fully accept or understand mediumship because of her beliefs. But she said, if you can do anything, if you get anything, can you let me know? Here's her information. She's hoping that you can help. And I was like, oh God, like, I don't know. But immediately I started getting dreams, getting messages, had the girl connect to me, saw something about car going in water, saw somebody standing outside her car window, and I saw a flash, and then I felt like heat go through my head, and then I saw a bullet hole in the passenger seat. So I was like, hey, how do I tell the mom this? But I just prayed for guidance, and the mom said, look, I know she's already gone. If you can give me anything, I've already heard from my daughter, I'm sensitive too. If you can give me anything that'll help. So I told her some details I saw, and she said, I'm going to connect you to the police. So she put the police on. They were searching for her daughter's body in the water. And so I drew out like a little horrible map of the river and where I saw like she was trapped below trees in this curve, and they were able to find her. And there was another girl with her that they were looking for her body for a few more days. So after that, it was just kind of word of mouth. I have some people book with me. I've had other mediums bring me in to talk to this detective, this PI. So it was just kind of gone from there. And then I went out, Jennifer Schaefer, amazing medium out in LA, started an academy where she works with the FBI and did training. So I flew out there, passed the academy, which it was really intense training for 3 days. And so now I'm part of a program where they send me cases, and it's just email, and they'll say, we're looking for this, this, and this. I have a number associated with my account, so it keeps me protected I submit back exactly what I got, and then it gets put in a database where multiple police officers, counties can look into it. So it's pretty awesome.
That's great. Hey, we're almost at the end of the show. Now, this is the most important part of the show, Jessica. Tell everybody, A, how they can contact you.
Okay.
B, what you're doing. And C, what else is going on in the wonderful world of Jessica Potter. And this is Jessica's website below, and I highly recommend that you go to it and check it out.
Thank you. Okay, so Star Love Clarity is my website, or the Mermaid Medium, whichever is easiest for you to remember. On Facebook, you can add me at Jessica Potter Intuitive Medium. That's where I mainly share all the events I'm doing, podcasts I'm doing, when my courses are coming out. I do teach Learning to Read Your Cards course, where it's Intuitive 1. I'm getting ready to do a round with that. Psychic development, and I'm still wrapping up a mediumship development one. I will have a lot of events coming out this summer. Some of them haven't been released yet. We're still working on posters and details and things, but keep an eye out for this summer. And if you're in the UK, I have Sage Paracon. It's going to be in July. There's going to be a Sage Paracon US in Virginia. That's going to be Memorial Day weekend. It's definitely going to be worth it. We're like everyone involved, we are really goofy and very serious about our work. So like it's always, you never know what to expect, but it's very entertaining bunch. And so I'm looking to be teaching more online, just kind of on hold, waiting on this, and then other projects in the background, waiting on the green light with those. So it's going to affect my schedule. But again, all mediums are a hot mess because we're getting pulled over here and here. But Facebook is the best way to keep up with everything going on with me.
In the wonderful world of Jessica Potter. That's the way it's got to work now. You guys all got to know that by now. Just stay on so I can thank you properly for being on the show. And I'm going to close out. And you were just one of my favorite guests. I'm so happy. That we met. And I'm so thrilled that, I think I met you and your husband at, like I say, at the top of the escalator. So it'll be all three of us. That'll be our spot up there.
Which he said to say hi, by the way.
Oh, good. Yeah. He's a great guy. I like him. He's funny. The first time I met him, he had like a little grimace. I was going, uh-oh. And then he started smiling. I go, oh, he's excellent. Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the toughest people I met, but the goofiest. And you need that in your life as a medium. We need that goofiness. So every day he's making me laugh.
Yes, you do. Okay, hold on. Just hold on a couple minutes and we'll be right back. And that was, of course, Jessica. And Jessica is fantastic. And I'm so thrilled that we got a chance to go and bring her on the show tonight. And guys, I just want to thank everybody for hanging out, coming to visit, and being a part of the Black Cat Lounge. If you guys are wandering around again this weekend, stop up at Paranormal Oddities on Transit Road in Depew, New York. You got some fine mediums there. I'll be there. Get better mediums than me. I'm an extra large. So come out, hang out. And until next week, this is Tim Shaw saying, have a good night. Because where are you? Because you are in the place where the elite meet, next to the dumpster transfer station. Ciao, babies. Thank you for being part of the show.